Today, we're going to talk about something that can cause a whole lot of stress and anxiety for families here in Germany. And that's an unexpected visit from the Jugendamt, the youth welfare office. We're going to break down exactly what to do with a clear step-by-step plan.
So just imagine it for a second. There's a knock on your door, and it's the Jugendamt. Your heart starts pounding, right? What could they possibly want? What did I do wrong? That single moment can feel absolutely overwhelming. But trust me, being prepared can change everything.
Okay, before we get into the details, I have to say something really important. The information we're sharing here is for educational purposes. It is not, and I repeat, not a substitute for professional legal advice. And if you're ever in an emergency, please just call 112. Now, the game plan we're about to lay out comes from Vera Sumpan. She's a professional social worker who has spent 16 years working inside the German system. Her whole goal is to help you replace that fear with a clear, actionable plan. So here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll get a real understanding of what the Jugendamt actually is. Then we'll dive into a 10-minute emergency plan, look at some common mindset mistakes and much better alternatives, and finally, talk about your path forward. All right, let's start with the basics. Who or what really is the Jugendamt? It is so important to see them not just as, the authorities, but as an organization with a very specific two-part job: support and protection. See, at its core, the Youth Welfare Office has two main functions. The first one is to actually support families, think resources, counseling, educational help. The second, and this is what we're focusing on today, is to protect children when there are signs that their well-being might be at risk. And this whole system is built on a key legal idea here in Germany. As parents, you have the fundamental right and duty to raise your kids, but the state also has an official duty to protect a child's well-being. Now, what's really, really important here is that last point. Removing a child is legally the absolute last resort. It's only supposed to happen when no other, milder options are enough. And just to give you an idea of the scale we're talking about, in 2024, there were about 72,800 confirmed cases of child endangerment in Germany. Now, that number came after officials looked into almost 240,000 reports. The point is, this system is very active, and you are not the only one going through this. And all of this led to around 69,500 cases of what's called Innahmehutnahme, which literally translates to taking into care. This is when a child is taken into temporary protective custody. It's a huge step, for sure, but legally it's an emergency measure, not necessarily the final word. So what does child well-being actually mean in this system? Well, it's more than just having food and going to school. German law gives kids the right to be raised without physical violence, without humiliation, and without emotional harm. This isn't about judging one culture against another. It's simply about understanding the specific rules of the system you're living in right now. Okay, let's get to the most practical, need-to-know part of all of this. This is your 10-minute plan for that exact moment when the Jugendamt shows up at your door unannounced. I want you to remember this phrase. In fact, burn it into your memory. Calm voice, clear facts, document everything. This is your anchor in that super stressful moment. It helps you switch from reacting with emotion to responding with a strategy. All right, let's walk through the steps. 1. Stay calm and respectful. No shouting, no arguing. Just breathe. 2. Calmly ask for information. Can I please have your name, your title, and the specific reason for your visit? 3. And this is so important, do not try to handle this alone. Immediately call a trusted friend, a support professional, anyone. 4. Cooperate. Do not lie, do not hide anything, and do not physically block them. That almost always makes things worse. 5. Say it out loud. Clearly state that you are committed to your child's safety and that you are willing to accept support. And finally, after they leave, document everything. Write down names, times, and exactly what was said by who. Your notes are the language this system understands. How you think about this situation can have a huge impact on the outcome. So let's look at some common but really unhelpful mindsets and see how we can flip them into something much more effective. And this slide really lays out that shift perfectly. So instead of thinking the system is the problem, try to see it like this. Cooperation and my willingness to change can actually open doors. It's also really important to know what kind of support you need. While advice from a pastor or an imam can be great for spiritual strength, it's not a replacement for professional advice that can clarify your legal situation.
And finally, let's reframe this idea of discipline. It's not that discipline doesn't exist in Germany, it's just defined differently. It's about rules, consistency, and connection, not violence. So after the immediate crisis, where do you go from here? The goal isn't just to get through it, but to build a real foundation of safety and support for your family for the long term.
If you only take away 3 things from all of this, let it be these. Number 1, stay calm and cooperative. It can change the entire dynamic of the conversation. 2, document everything. It is your most powerful tool. And 3, and this is probably the most important of all, build your support network before a crisis ever hits.
And that brings us to the final question I want to leave you with. After hearing all this, do you feel a little more prepared to navigate this system? Maybe not with fear, but with confidence and clarity? Because at the end of the day, your ultimate protection is community. If you're looking for support, for coaching, for a network of people who just get it, Parent Compass is a resource that was created for exactly that reason. Just remember, preparation, not panic, is your best path forward.